Okay, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Jonathan Godaro, and I am the CEO of Game Bosses Studio. And welcome to another game development tutorial in the Unity game engine. So today we are basically what we are doing on this channel is that we just take of random game ideas and just bring them completely to life in Unity. So I actually thought of a very simple idea for beginner game devs. Just a simple game that will help to put them in a good position or set them in the right track when it comes to game development. Alright, so I'm just going to play the game, and after playing, we are going to be recreating it once more from scratch in the Unity game engine. So let me just enlarge the game view by pressing Shift and your space bar, then hit Ctrl P to play. Then basically what just going to do is we are going to be moving this our hammer weapon around the shield game object to destroy these incoming enemies. And if the enemies actually hit the shield, the game will restart. Okay, so it's a very simple stuff. um, yeah, it's kind of fun actually. I had a lot of fun with this game, just playing it, just trying to beat my current high scores, yeah, things like that. And I think something that we're also going to do for this game is that we are going to add some particle systems to the game, in the sense that when you destroy an enemy, there will be some particles or some death effects that will spawn out from the enemy immediately they are destroyed, and we can add a little screen shake to it. But I don't think we are going to do that in this video. I think I'm going to create a more dedicated video on that aspect, but we're going to use the same project for it. Okay, so with that said, let's get started. Okay, so let's just create a new project. um yeah, like this. So we can call it let's just say something like shield. Yeah, shield. Actually, what should we call this? Okay, let's just call it protector. All right. Okay, so let's set this as a 2D project, and I actually want to save this in my game bosses file. Right. Okay, then we just click on create project. So Unity is just going to create the necessary files for us, and we are good to go. So let's just wait for that. By the way, these are the characters, or these are the sprites we are going to be using for the game. I actually created these in GIMP. You can actually do the same in Photoshop. They are just pixel art. They are pixel art designs actually. Okay. So once Unity is booted up, we are going to import them into Unity and start development. Okay, so we're good to go. All right. So yeah, the first thing you may want to do is actually change your your game view display from, because yours may be at free aspect, right? So just change it from free aspect to any of these other options. I'm just going to leave mine as 3.2. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to create some folders down. Just right click and create folder. Let's call this one sprites. Create another folder for the scripts, which is where we're going to put in all our codes, and this one, we'll name this one prefabs. Okay, so I think this will do for now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to drag in our sprites. Note that you don't actually need to use the exact sprites I'm using, because I do not have a website to upload them out for, so that you guys will be able to download it. So what you could just do instead is just, you can import a default Unity sprite. You can just right click, go to create, and go to sprite. You can import a circle, right? Just something that you can use to follow along with this tutorial. Just you can import a circle, right? Or a circle or and a square, right? So the circle could be the shield in the middle, and the square you can just reshape it so that that could be the hammer. Okay, so yeah, just do that. But if you know you are good in GIMP or Photoshop, Yeah, feel free to create your own characters. We're just going to get rid of that, and let's click on these two and let's drag them into the sprites folder. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on these enemy sprites, and we're going to set some components right here. Okay, so first of all, we're going to set the normal quality to none and the filter mode to point no filter, right? Then we'll hit apply, just like that. Then I think we can reduce this. Hit apply again. So let's drag it into the hierarchy and see how it looks. Let's scale it up. Okay, awesome. Note that if you didn't go through that process, let's just take it back to the way it was before. Okay, so note this: if you didn't go through this process, you are going to run into some problems when you drag it into the hierarchy. And this is the problem. Like when we drag it to the hierarchy and we scale it, we see that the image is blurry. Okay, because normally pixel art designs, they are very small, so scaling it up just makes it blurry. Okay, so that's why we need to go through these settings. Set from normal quality to none, right? Then from bilinear to point no filter, then could just hit apply. Okay, just like that. Very simple stuff, guys. Okay, so yeah, that's for the enemy. We can try to delete that, and let's do the same for the shield. Type no filter, normal quality now. Hit apply. Then what we're going to do here is this is a sprite containing two images, the shield and the hammer, right? So we're going to change the sprite mode here from single to multiple so that we'll be able to cut out to separate the both of them, okay? Because we're going to use them as separate objects. And so after doing that, you hit apply, then you open up the sprite editor. Okay, let's just increase this. Now what we're going to do here is we are going to cut out the shield separately and the hammer separately. Okay, so we can just click here, or you can just, no, we won't actually slice it automatically because it's a pixel. So we just click, and as you can see, this green line is actually marking it out automatically for us. Okay, so the hammer has been cut out automatically, and let's go for the shield. Okay, so you can just take this one inside like that. Then after that is done, we hit apply. Note, if you are importing a default Unity sprites like a circle and a square, you don't need to do this. Okay, it's only if you are creating like what I did here, then you actually need to go through this process. Okay, so the first thing, let's change our camera color to okay, let's just say whitish blue, whitish blue for now. All right, so then let's drag in our shield and let's rename it to shield. What is wrong with me? Yeah, shield. Okay, so let's rescale this. I think that size is just about enough. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so okay, let's just leave it at a 9. Yeah, awesome. So we are going to add I think we're going to add a collider to this box game object. So we'll just go to physics 2D box collider. Okay, and as we can see, the box collider marks it perfectly. Okay, but we are going to edit this a little bit. We'll just take it a little bit inside. Okay, I just like to do it like this. Okay, okay, awesome. So we're not going to mess around with any of these properties yet. Let's just leave it like that for now. Then let's drag in our hammer. Okay, let's rescale it I think that size is about enough. Let's drag it out to about here, right? So we're going to make this hammer move around the center of the screen, and currently the center of the screen is this our shield. Okay, so let's just turn this to hammer. Then we'll add a let's add a box collider tool, box collider 2D, and I'm going to edit it a little bit. No, actually, let's just leave it like that. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's let's give it a rigid body component, rigid body, which we are going to set from dynamic to kinematic, because we don't want it to fall under gravity, but we want it to have physics component. Okay, then we'll set it from set the collision detector from discrete to continuous. All right, awesome. So yes, let us start coding, guys. Yeah, yippee. So the first thing, let's go into our script folder. Then let's right click and go to create new C# script, and let's just name this one weapon. Okay, so Unity is just going to boot it up for us. Okay, alright, let's open it right up in Mono Develop. You just double click on it, or you click on it once, then click on this open button there. Alright, so we're in Mono Develop now. This is Unity IDE for scripting, for coding games in Unity. Okay, so when you open Mono Develop, when you want to start coding anything at all, you are going to be welcomed with this few line of codes, right? We don't need to bother ourselves about these ones. They are standard stuff, so just leave them. So I says public class, and the class name is weapon, which we named it. Then we have the start method and the update method, right? Now any line of code I will put in between these two curly brackets, which is here, any line of code that we write in it will be called once the game starts running, right? Meaning anything you put in there, once the game starts running, that function will happen immediately, right? Then in the update method is actually called I think it's frame by frame. Okay, it's going to be called frame by frame. So any code you write inside the update method is going to be called frame by frame, meaning it's going to be called often, right? So yeah, that's it. So let's just remove these lines of code, right? Let's delete from this curly bracket to this place. Before I forget, these are not actually lines of code. These are comments in your game. Let's say you create a function. In order for you not to forget what the function actually does, you can just write a comment close to it by first creating making two slash signs like this, then write the comment like this is a comment. Okay, something like that. All right, this doesn't actually do anything in your code, right? It's just a simple comment for you to as the developer to remember. All right, so let's delete these lines of code. Okay, so we are going to be writing ours from scratch. So we're going to be making a variable, right? And the variable is an int variable, meaning an integer. No, we're going to be using a float first, a float, yeah, a float, which is this float variable, which is going to be named speed, right? So we can just say public float, then speed. Okay, like that. So what this basically means, why we first started as public, is because we want to be able to tweak the value of this variable inside of the Unity editor. If we actually didn't write this public, right, Unity is going to take it as a private variable, which we can only tweak inside Mono Develop, right? We can't tweak it inside the Unity editor, but we want to be able to tweak it inside the Unity editor, so we actually need to add this public. And this float stands for the variable, and float means variables with decimal points, right? And the name of that variable is speed, right? And we can actually set it to any given, we can actually set it to a figure right now. by writing any number of the number, like the number of speed you want to give that the hammer game object, the speed which it will use to go around the shield, right? You can actually set it right here, and you can also tweak it inside of the editor. Okay, so but let's just remove that, right? Okay, so the next one we're going to do is that we're going to create that the update method that we deleted. We are going to recreate it by first typing void updates, then two brackets, then two curly brackets, just like that. One thing you should always keep in mind is Unity is case sensitive, okay? So you must type it the exact way I'm typing mine, except when you are naming variables. You can actually name it as you like. You can name it as capital letters or whatsoever. But things like public floats, all these other things, they are very, very case sensitive. If we're actually going to, if we actually change this update, the capital letter U to a small letter U, Unity will recognize it, okay? So it must be a capital letter U. That's just to show that Unity is super, super case sensitive, okay? Yeah, void update. All right. So the first thing we're going to be doing is that we are going to be making our input system, and the input system we are going to making is a very, very simple one. We're just going to say if the player clicks on the left button or the right button, then something should happen. And what is going to happen is that the hammer is going to go around the shield, right? So we'll just write okay, first of all, we're going to create another variable here. We'll just call it it's a private variable, right? Meaning we're only going to be able to tweak it inside of MonoDevelop. Okay, private. I'll just call this one move inputs. No, sorry, private integer is an integer, not a float, meaning just an whole number. Okay, it could be positive, it could be negative. And the name of this integer is, we're just going to name it move input. You can name it whatever you want. Okay, okay. So in the update method, we are going to set move this variable that we just created, right? The variable is an integer, and the name of the variable is move input. So we're going to set move input equals to Unity standard inputs is Unity input system input dot get axis, right? Just like that. Then you put two semicolons, and the axis we are looking for is the horizontal axis. Okay, because if you actually look at your keyboard, the left and right arrow key are actually placed horizontally, right? While the up and down arrow keys are placed are pointing vertically. Okay, so we are going to say horizontal, which is for the left and right arrow key. So I've set this move input variable equals to the new Unity standard input system, right? Then we're going to create another method which is called the fix updates. Right? And maybe I'll make a more dedicated video on explaining what methods are, right, and why they are used. Okay, for people that don't know, or you could just browse the internet and check it out yourself, or you wait for the video. Alright. So fixed update, in a fixed update method, right, we're going to make in something is the line of code is going to be very, very easy, and you're going to understand it, right? So we are going to be saying this transform component of this hammer, right, which is this. We want where we actually want the transform component to rotate, okay, using physics. Okay, I think we're going to be using physics. Yeah, yeah. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to say transform dot rotate around. Okay, because we want it to rotate around. So these are Unity standard stuff. Okay, so we're going to say vector 3.0 because we want it to be rotating on all the axis dot 0, right? Then vector 3 again dot forward. Okay, so just right after me, yeah, then the move input multiplied by time dot fixed delta time. Okay, so what this line of code is basically saying is that when we click on the left and right arrow key, we want the transform component to rotate around the center of the screen. And currently we placed the shield at the center of the screen. So yeah, this is the center of the screen. Okay, so it's a very simple script. Here we said move input. Then we're multiplying this by time dot fixed delta time to smoothing things out for us. Okay. Oh yeah, I also forgot. Then we're also going to multiply this by the speed at which we want it to move. Alright. Okay. So we're going to say multiplied by speed, which is this, right? So we're going to give it a speed inside of the Unity game engine. Okay, and I think we actually have to reverse this. We should add a minus to this, right? Multiplied by minus speed. Okay, so let's hit Ctrl S to save the script and go back into Unity. So Unity is just going to boot up the script for us, and hopefully, I think we have a little error. Okay. Um, I don't think I didn't think there would be a problem actually. Okay, maybe we should get rid of this first. Let's save it and let's head back to Unity. See, okay, move inputs equals to input dot get axis horizontal. What's actually the problem? The name move input does not exist. Alright, let's save this again, guys. Let's take note of the issue. Okay. What is happening? Okay, let's change this to a float and let's see what happens. Okay, so that was the problem, guys. I'm really sorry about that. So we're not supposed to actually make this an integer but also a float like the speed. Okay, I actually know why now. I actually wonder why did I make such a mistake. Okay, so yeah, that's it, guys. So let's drag in this code into the hammer game object. We just click and drag it into the hammer, and if we scroll down in the inspector, we have seen that we can see that the script has been added as a component in the hammer game object. Okay, so now this is the speed variable that we created up here. Okay, why the move input variable isn't showing is because we created this as a private variable, so we're not actually going to mess around with this. We'll just leave it like that. But the speed, let's give it a speed of about 10, and yeah, let's see how that works. Okay, so let's hit Control P. So let's just test things out. Okay, so if I click on the left button, we can see it moving. So yeah, that is pretty slow. Let's try about 100. Okay, awesome. So as you can see, it's currently moving around the shield game object. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty cool, guys. I think we should increase this. So let's say about 250. I think this is too much. Okay, yeah, you can keep tweaking the values to something that you like that is more suitable for your own game. So I'm just going to leave mine as 200, and I actually want to scale them down a little bit. Okay, and let me drag in the hammer a little bit inside. Then let me try that again. I think it's too small. Anyway, we're going to leave things as that. Actually, I just want to make this perfect. Let's actually scale this up, right? Then let's also scale this a little bit. So you can make it too small. One more time, let's test this out. Okay, so that is one thing with game development. You have to continue to test to see everything works fine and perfect. Okay, so let's shift it in a little bit. I think it's too far out. Okay, okay, much better. All right, so we are done with like the main mechanics of the game. All right, so the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating the enemies, right? The enemies simple AI movement. So when the enemy is spawned out from a spawn point, immediately he spawns out, is going to automatically move towards the player game object, which is the shield. Is going to move towards the shield, right? And let's just give this shield a tag now. So let's just give it a default tag as, let's just say, player, right? And let's give this hammer its own tag. Let's just create a new tag for it. Hit the plus sign here and let's just call the tag weapon. Okay, weapon. When you click on the hammer, then assign the tag to it. Awesome. Okay, so you see the reasons why we're going to be using these tags very soon. All right, so yeah, let's drag in our enemy sprite into the game. Let's shift it out this way and let's scale him up. I think this size is about enough for the enemies. Yeah, enough. Okay, so let's double click on him. Let's give him a rigid body 2D. I'm going to set to kinematic 2 and from discrete to continuous. Now let's also give him a box collider 2D. Wow, this is really big. So let's edit this. Let's drag it up this way, and yeah, perfect. So I think we should actually mark this as a trigger, and we'll see why in a sec. So let's go back into our scripts folder and let's create the enemy AI script, right? So let's just name this script enemy. Okay, we'll click it to open up in Mono Develop. Okay, awesome. So yeah, as usual, we're going to get rid of these lines of code. Now the first thing we're also going to start with here is we're going to be creating a float variable which is going to also be named speed. That is the speed at which the enemy is going to move. You can name it enemy speed or acceleration, whatever you want. Okay, we're going to say public float speed. All right, so now that that is done, we are going to create a private no a private transform, and we are going to name it let's just say player pose, right? This player pose is actually the position of the shield game objects in our game. So basically the enemy game object is going to move towards this player pose position. Okay, so we're going to be creating that start method again by saying void then start and 2 brackets and 2 curly brackets. Okay, so remember what I said in when we want to start coding for the first for the weapon for the weapon game object. I told you any line of code that we put in the start method is going to be called once the game starts playing, right? So what we are going to be doing in this start method, we are going to be setting this player pose, the transform which we name player pose, we're going to be setting it to this hammer, to the shield game object. Okay, we're going to be setting it to it. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to say player pose going to be equals to game objects dot find game objects, not game objects, but game objects with tag, and the tag we're actually looking for is the tag that we gave the shield game object, which is player. Okay, so we're going to type in player exactly the same way the tag is written, in capital letter first and small letter follows. That is the way we are going to write it inside the parentheses. Okay, then we'll say dot get component, and the component we want to get of it is its transform. So just do like this, then writing transform right there. Okay, so we're saying we're setting this the enemy position, right, is going to be equals to this transform, which is player pose, is going to be equals to the game object with the player tag, and what we're looking for in that game object is its own transform component. Okay, so very simple stuff. So I'm going to create that the update method again, updates. Okay, just like that. I'm going to say transform dot position going to be equals to a vector 2 dot move towards. Okay, so the enemy game object transform is going to move from its own position towards the game object that has the player tag transform position. Okay, then we're going to open up two brackets, then we're going to say transform dot position. Okay, then a comma and player pose dot position, right? Then another comma, then speed multiplied by time dot delta time. Note that we didn't actually use time dot fixed delta time in this one because the method is just an update method, not a fixed update method. If it was a fixed update method, then we'll use time dot fixed delta time. Okay, very simple stuff. Okay, so let's hit Control S and let's try out our script. So let's click on the anime game object. So once the script is booted up, okay, there are no errors. Let's drag in the script into the enemy. Let's click on it. Then let's give it a speed. Let's say about let's say 5. Alright. Let's drag it away from the player. And let's hit play. And let's see if it actually goes to the player's position. Awesome. So as you can see that it automatically went to the player's position. So if we actually duplicate these and put them at different points, all of them will move towards the player. Awesome. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're actually going to give this enemy its own tag too, just to keep things organized, and let's name it enemy. Okay, click on the enemy game object again and give it the tag. Alright, awesome. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing this in the enemy script. We're going to be creating a trigger event, right? That is actually where we marked the box collider as a trigger. Okay, so this game object isn't going to collide with any other game, or if it collides with any other game object, nothing is going to happen. Okay, because the collider is now acting as like a field, right? So we're going to set that if the game object collider field comes in contact with the shield, then the game is going to restart. But if it comes in contact with the hammer, this enemy game object is going to destroy. Okay, so let's just quickly do that. So we're going to say we're going to create the trigger event method. We're going to say void on trigger enter 2D. Note you must write it the exact way I wrote mine. Okay, this is a Unity trigger event system. And we're going to say collider 2D because we put a box collider 2D on it. Then you name the collider whatever you want to name it. I'm just going to name it order, right? Then here we're going to create an if statement, which is a conditional statement, right? Saying if the enemy game object comes in contact with the hammer, if it comes in contact with the hammer, then something is going to happen. Alright, if it comes in contact with the shield, then something is also going to happen. We're going to say if, then we're going to create a bracket and a curly bracket too. Then in the bracket, we're going to say if order dot compare tag, and the tag we want to compare is that of the the player tag. Okay, so if the the enemy game object comes in contact with the player, the scene is going to reload. So what was now to reload a scene, we're actually going to create something. I'm going to say using Unity engine dot scene management. Okay, so when working with scenes in Unity, we're actually going to need this. Okay, so if it comes to contact with the player, we're going to say I think it's scene manager dot get no dot load scene, then create a bracket. Then we're going to say I think this is it. Get active. Sorry guys. Load active scene. I think that is it. Wait. So dot get active scene dot load okay, let's just try this dot load scene. No, scene manager dot load scene bracket get no scene manager dot get active scenes dot build no, get active scenes dot build index. Okay. Whew, sorry guys. So yeah, that is actually how to reload a scene in Unity, right? We are going to reload the same level, right? Okay, so after doing that, just save it and let's try it out in Unity. So currently we don't have a scene because we haven't actually saved this project. So after Unity boots up this script, I'm going to do that right away. Okay, so I'm just going to click on Control S and let's just call it main level because this is the only level we're going to have in this game. Main level, right? Okay, so our scene is added. Now what we are going to do, we are going to add this scene to our build, to our scene in build. Okay, we're just going to add it right there. Okay, so yeah, let's test this out. Let's test it out in action. Okay, so if the enemy collides with the shield, the scene is going to restart. Awesome, and it works. Yippee! All right. So the next thing we're going to be doing is if the enemy collides with the hammer, it is going to destroy. So let's just copy this line of code. Okay, Control C. Let's go down. Yeah, let's paste it right in there. But we're going to remove this line of code right here. And the tag we're going to be searching for this time is the weapon. Okay, because we actually wrote it as capital letter when setting the tag. So what we're going to do here is if it collides with the game object that has the tag weapon, it is going to destroy itself. It's going to destroy itself. So we're going to say destroy bracket open. Let's close the bracket and add our parentheses. Destroy game objects. Okay, then hit Ctrl S and let's save this. Okay, okay. Let's actually reduce the speed of the enemies, right? Let's not make it too fast. Let's say about 4. Okay, then let's hit Ctrl P. Awesome. So as you can see, immediately it came in contact with the hammer. It got destroyed. Let's also reduce the speed of this hammer. Let's say about 195 to make the game a little more challenging. Awesome. Alright. So now that we've worked on the enemies and the destroy system, we are going to work on a way to spawn out the enemies out from various points in a given time, right? Like let's say in every 0.5 seconds or in every 1 second, an enemy is going to be spawned out. Okay, so yeah, let's drag in the enemy game object into the assets right here. And what we have done is that we have created a prefab out of it. Now prefabs are basically reusable game objects, right? That even when you delete them from the hierarchy completely, you can drag them back from the assets into the hierarchy and they will have all the components that you placed in it before. Okay, so something like this. Okay, awesome. Now what we're going to do is that we're going to be right clicking in the hierarchy right here and create an empty game object. We're going to reset it and we're going to call this one spawn points holder, right? So this is going to hold all our spawn points, and let's just give it a gizmo so that we'll be able to see it inside of the same view. But note that it won't be shown in the game view, right? And I think this shade isn't actually setting. Okay, we're just going to change that to 0 so that it will be at the center of the screen. Alright. Okay, so yeah, if we zoom in, we can actually see the gizmo of the spawn point holder. So I'm going to click on that same spawn point holder and right click again. We're going to create another empty object, and what we have done is that we have created a child game object, right? So whenever we move this spawn point holder, is going to move this empty game object is going to move along with it. Okay, so the spawn point holder is the parent game object, and this second empty game object is a child game object. So I'm going to name this one to spawn point 1. Okay, now actually why we made this spawn point holder is to make our work actually neat. So we can actually close it like this, okay? Because we're going to be making multiple spawn points just like this. Okay, I'm just going to do that real quick. Let's drag the spawn point up out of the screen. Like so, let's give it a gizmo. Let's say about green. Let's Ctrl Z. No. Let's redo that, okay? Ctrl D to duplicate. Let's drag this one down. Ctrl D. Let's drag this one here. Ctrl D. Let's drag this one here. Ctrl D. Let's drag these ones here. Ctrl D again. Then let's put these ones right here. Then yeah, right there. So we have about 8 spawn points, right? So what we can do now with this parent spawn point holder is that we can actually close it up, so our work is really neat. Okay, because we don't want to be seeing all this. All right, so basically that's what it does. Okay, so what the computer is going to be doing is that it's going to be going through all these spawn points, right, in every 1 second, and it's going to select a random spawn point which is going to spawn out an enemy. from. Okay, so let's click on the spawn point holder and let's add a new component, and the component we want to add is the spawner. Okay, so this is actually a script. You can create the script right there in the script folder, or you can just go through this process I went. Okay, so as we can see the script appears here. So what we can do is we can drag it into the script folder. So right now I've showed you guys two ways to create a script inside of Unity. Okay, so let's double click on it to open up in MonoDevelop. Okay, so let's get started. So let's get rid of this lines of code. So we're going to be creating a public game object, right, which is going to be called enemy. So the enemy's game object that we want to spawn out, we're going to drag it into the game object slot inside the Unity editor. And then we're going to also be creating a public transform. No, sorry, a public what's wrong with me? Transform, which is going to be called spawn points. Okay. Oh, spawn. Okay, spawn points. Okay, and this is actually going to be an array because it's not only one spawn points that we're dealing with multiples, right? If you guys don't know what arrays are, I will recommend that you just browse about it. What are arrays in C# in Unity? I think Unity on Unity website they really have a good tutorial video on that where they really explain what arrays are and how you can use them. So you can just check it out. I'm not going to explain it in this video. Okay, then next we're going to create a private float, which is going to be the time between spawns. So I'm just going to write it like that for short. Then a public variable, a public float, which is going to be start time between spawns. Okay, so in our start method, okay, like that, we're going to set time between spawns is equals to start it will equals to start time between spawns. Okay, then we're going to create our update method, void updates, like that. Then we're going to say we're going to be checking if time between spawns, okay, is less than equals to 0. Okay, then we want to actually spawn something from it. Okay, but if it's not, else okay, now I think we're actually going to get rid of these brackets. Okay, what if it's not? I'm just going to set time between spawns is going to be minus equals to time dot delta time. Okay, yeah, just write as I write. Okay, so right here, if time between spawns is less than equals to 0, we're going to create something. We're going to create an int variable which we are going to name let's say random points. Okay, well, so we're going to set it into now let's actually change this. Let's just call it rand pose. Okay, random position, right, which is going to be the list of spawn points that we're going to put inside of the Unity game engine. So we're going to say random dot range. Okay, we're going to say spawn points dot length, and no, let's say 0 comma spawn points dot length. Okay, so Unity is going to go through every spawn point that we have, after it goes through it, it's going to instantiate or it's going to spawn out an enemy game object, okay, from it. Let's say in every 1 second. Okay, we're going to set that up in Unity. Okay, so yeah, let's continue. Sorry, quickly went to attend to something. Okay, so we're going to write here instantiate, meaning we are going to spawn out something. Instantiate. Then what we instantiate is the enemy, the enemy game object, which is this. We're going to just write enemy, which is the name of the game object. Okay, and when we want to spawn it from is the spawn points. No, the spawn points, which is this right here. So spawn points then creates this. Okay, then in it we're going to say round cos, which is this right here, this variable that we created right there. Then we're going to say continuum dot identity, right? We're actually going to say round pose then dot position. Okay, the continuum dot identity, what this actually does is to make sure that the game objects, when they are instantiated, they don't have any rotation. Okay, I think yeah, I think there seems to be a little problem right there. Yeah, dot position and continuum dot identity. Okay, so just like that. And after that, we're just going to say time between spawns is equals to start time between spawns. Okay, so now after this line of code, it should work perfectly fine. Okay, so let's just hit Ctrl S, head back into Unity, and Unity is going to boot up the script for us. Okay, so as you can see, the public variables that we created, which is the enemy game objects, the spawn points, and the time between spawns, meaning the time it's going to spawn out a game object, are right here. So first of all, let's go right here and drag in our enemy prefab into the enemy slot right there. So that is this is going to be spawning out this enemy game object in every 1 second. So let's just say 1 second. Then we can actually expand this and write out the number of spawn points that we have. Currently we have 8 spawn points, right? We're not going to include the spawn point holder, but only the spawn points, right? So we can actually create 8 spawn points right here, then keep dragging them one after the other into each slot, right? But what we could do is we can put it back at 0, then we can lock the inspector right here. What we can do is we can select all these at the same time, then just drag them into the spawn points right there, then unlock the inspector back. Okay, so that is a quick trick to just quickly do that, right? So let's hit Control P and let's see if it's all working. So as you can see, in every 1 second an enemy is spawned and we can actually destroy the enemies. This is awesome. Okay, right now I really feel that the game is too easy. Okay, so yeah, you can keep tweaking the values until you get what you want. You can tweak the speed of the hammer, tweak the speed of the enemies until you get the type of game that you want. Awesome. So what we are going to be creating next is the counter, right? So when you destroy an enemy, we want our score to increase by 1. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be right clicking and going to UI, then text. Okay, so we'll click on the canvas here, we'll go to the inspector and we'll change it from screen space overlay to word space. We click on the text, then we'll just drag it into the scene just like that. Okay, let's actually scale it down before we drag it into our scene. Okay, awesome. We can change the anchor to top the top of the screen, right? Because we want it to be anchored at the top of the screen, right? Then we're going to change the text that says new text. So I'm just going to change it to 0. Okay, then we'll center it like so. Awesome. So let's increase the size. Let's say about 25. Okay, so we can make it bold. Awesome. All right. So yeah, we can just scale this down if you want. Just take it up a bit more. Okay, so I think that is perfect. So what we are going with, let's just rename it to score counter. Okay, so what we're going to be doing, we're going to be doing this through programming, through codes. So we're going to be saying if we destroy an enemy, then this 0 value is going to increase by 1. Okay, so if we destroy one enemy, it's going to change to 1. If we destroy another enemy, it's going to change to 2. Just like that. Very, very, very simple. So we're going to go into our weapons script, which is right here. We're going to create a public you know what, actually let's actually do this in the enemy script. Okay, so I'm going to be creating a public, say public text. Or before before we can actually use the text game object, which is under the UI, we're going to actually create something up here. We're going to say using unity engine.ui, and the full meaning of UI is called user interface, which are things that you can see and interact with in the game, like buttons and text. Okay, so now that is done, we can actually go here. Yeah, can go here and create a public text. Then we can also still name it text with a small letter or true. Okay, then we can go here and create a private integer. Okay, because we just want it to be an whole number. We don't want the scores to be in decimal points. Okay, so we're going to name this one counter. Okay, or counter text. Okay, so in the start method, we're going to set counter text. So once the game starts, we're going to set counter text is going to be equals to 0. Okay, it's already 0 right here. Just to be safe, we just want to set it to 0. Then in the update method, right, we're going to say text, which is this text right here, text dot text, okay, is equals to counter dot to string. Now what it's actually going to do is it's going to yeah, you see what to do in a sec. Okay, so after you've done that, we'll go into our trigger event codes where we destroyed the enemy game object. So we're going to see after it's being destroyed, counter is going to increase by 1. So we're going to say counter plus plus. Okay, then we'll save our script, head back into Unity. Okay, yeah, you know what, I think we actually made a mistake. We shouldn't actually put this, or should we? Okay, let's just test this out. Let's see if it works for us. Let's drag in the text. Okay, yeah, it doesn't work. So let's actually put this into the weapon script. I'm really sorry about this, guys. So Yeah, we can just get rid of this. Okay, so yeah, Control X to cut it. Go back to the weapon scripts and in the update method, put that. Go back into the enemy, cut this. Go back here, that. We create our using Unity Engine.ui right there. Then we'll create our start method once more. Okay, then we cut this, Ctrl X. No, yeah, then we put it right there. Okay, so what we actually need here is a trigger event. So yeah, what we can actually do is we can just cut this code right here and put it into the weapon script. Okay, so well, first of all, I'm going to say using Unity Engine dot scene management. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be saying if the weapon game object collides with, let's actually get rid of this line of code here. You know what, I'm just going to copy this, right, just for safety reasons. Let's get rid of this line of code, and we're going to say if it collides with the enemy, instead it's going to destroy the enemy game object, not itself. We're just going to say destroy, open the brackets. This time we're going to say other dot game object, which is the game object that has the enemy tag. Okay, then let's go back into this enemy string. Let's paste that right in again. Then let's remove this line of code. Okay, yeah. So if the enemy collides with the player game object, the scene is going to restart. While in the weapon script is if the enemy collides with the weapon game object, the enemy is going to be destroyed. Okay, and score text um, counter is going to increment by 1. Okay, awesome. So let's save our script and head back into Unity. Control S on that too. So then Unity boot up the script for us. Then we are good to go. Okay, so what we can do now is we can click on the hammer game object, and right here we see we have a tab here which we are going to drag in our text into. So the text is this score counter. So I'm going to drag it right into there. Then let's actually set this hammer and box collider as a trigger. Then let's hit Control P. Okay, the game starts when it collides with the player. Awesome. So our game is finally working, guys. Really awesome. So as I said, you can keep tweaking the values until you get something that you like. I think we should actually smoothen the rotation of the weapon a little bit more. We can just go right into where it says input.get axis. So we'll change to input.get axis raw. Okay, and you're going to see the movement of the hammer is going to be a lot more snappy. But if you don't like that, you can just remove the raw and leave it like that. I think I'm going to put the raw in mine. So let's hit Control P. Okay, so as you can see that the movement is more snappy right now. Okay, So I think it makes the game a lot more easier. Okay, so that is it, guys. We have made our first game for beginners in the Unity game engine. It was very simple and it was an awesome experience. Hopefully you guys learned a lot from this tutorial, and in the next tutorial we're also going to be taking of a game idea and just bringing it to life right here in Unity, and we're going to go more deeper and deeper into the Unity game engine. Okay, so with that said, you guys should consider subscribing to the channel to get updated of future videos, and please like this video, follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, and also follow the Game Bosses page on Facebook. Okay, I'll have all the links right in the description. So with that said, thanks for watching, guys. Stay blessed and peace out.